Hey guys, let's get more news from Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Steelers offensive lineman regrets re-signing with team. The Steelers' 2023 season didn't go how most of their players likely imagined, or at least hoped. But that can especially be said for one of Pittsburgh's veterans who didn't see the field for half of the season. Chukwuma Okorafor began the year as the team's starting right tackle, a position he held since 2020. His job felt safe even after the Steelers used their 2023 first-round pick on Broderick Jones, whose primary position is left tackle. But that's not how things played out. Pittsburgh's 2018 third-round pick was benched in Week 8 for reportedly acting out. Head coach Mike Tomlin never elaborated on Okorafor's benching but said his actions were a significant reason. For the rest of the season, Jones took over for Okorafor at right tackle even though he was making significantly less. Okorafor signed a 3-year, $29.25 million contract with the Steelers in 2022, a decision he has come to regret. "If I knew that was going to be the case, I probably wouldn't have chose to come back here," Okorafor said. "But at that point, there wasn't anything I could do about it." Okorafor has no idea what the future holds, but he's surely hoping he isn't with Pittsburgh in 2024 as he hopes to start once again in the NFL. "I have no idea what's going to happen next year. I wish I could tell you now," Okorafor added. "I think I'm young. I feel like I've got a lot of ball left in me. I don't know what's going to happen." That's certainly a scenario that could play out, however. Okorafor is heading into the final year of his contract, and cutting him would save the team $8.8 million with just a $3.083 million dead cap penalty. If another team is interested in the 26-year-old, the Steelers could attempt to trade him as well. They likely wouldn't receive much compensation given his contract, but something is better than nothing. Okorafor is hoping he gets that fresh start elsewhere. Whether he gets to choose where that would be is to be determined, but everything is on the table with a long offseason ahead. Terrible tales, George Pickens has been heavily fined by Steelers and NFL. A source says Pickens has been fined at or above $200,000 this year by the NFL and the Steelers combined, a larger-than-average figure for any player regardless of contract status, Jones writes. The NFL has publicly fined Pickens $33,441 for unnecessary roughness. This season, Pickens was set to make $1.318 as the second-year portion of his rookie contract. According to the report, Pickens has turned a corner in trying to right his reputation with the team. If it was up to Cameron Hayward, not only would he play out his contract, which expires after the 2024 season, but he also might play a couple of seasons after that, into his late 30s. That's what Hayward's mind is telling him. His body very well might have a different agenda. It sure did this year, for really the first time in his 13-year career, leaving him questioning whether Monday's playoff loss to the Buffalo Bills was the final game of his career. "It's been a rough season," the 34-year-old defensive lineman said. "In my heart, I want to play, but it's been rough." The final full squad team meeting for the 2023 edition of the Pittsburgh Steelers lasted all of about 20 minutes Tuesday. Nothing groundbreaking, star outside linebacker T.J. Watt said at the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex less than 20 hours after the Steelers' season ended with a playoff loss at the Buffalo Bills. And, just like that, the 91st edition of the Steelers will never be together in its present form again. Coach Mike Tomlin kind of talked about how some of the guys in this room won't be here, rookie defensive tackle Keanu Benton said, and that really hit me today. Does Mike Tomlin know something about his Steelers' future that we don't know after strange press conference? The Pittsburgh Steelers bowed out of the playoffs in the wild card round despite putting up a decent fight in their 31-17 loss to the Buffalo Bills. Amid another season in which the Steelers and their head coach Mike Tomlin pieced things together, they still managed to post a record of .500 or better for the 20th straight season. Questions about Tomlin's future with the team had popped up midway through the season as the Steelers struggled, but Mason Rudolph's strong play under center helped Pittsburgh find their way into the postseason, which largely put those rumors to rest. Yet Tomlin brought them back to life after the loss to the Bills by storming out of his press conference when asked about his contract and future with the team. On the surface, it seems like there's nothing to worry about for Tomlin and the Steelers, especially after reports came out on Tuesday that indicated he had no intention of leaving the team this offseason. But you cannot overlook his reaction to such a cliché question after Pittsburgh's season came to an end, and it's fair to wonder whether or not there's something Tomlin knows about his future that we don't. Tomlin just wrapped up his 17th season in charge of the Steelers, and while they've won just one Super Bowl during his stint, he's kept them competent every season during his time in charge. That includes as they experience some growing pains while transitioning away from the Ben Roethlisberger era and into the Kenny Pickett, or Mason Rudolph, era. If Pittsburgh was playing poorly under Tomlin, there would be more of an incentive to move on from him, but to this point, that hasn't happened. They admittedly had a stretch midway through this season where they suffered 4 losses in a span of 5 games, with 2 of those losses coming at the hands of the Arizona Cardinals and New England Patriots. But then Rudolph got the ball and helped guide the Steelers into the playoffs, and all seemed well. The concerning thing is Tomlin's reaction to the question about his future after losing to the Bills. Tomlin is entering the final year of his contract in 2024, but that isn't a massive concern at this point. If the Steelers keep winning, and Tomlin wants to coach, the two sides will find a way to come to an agreement to keep him in town. Pittsburgh might have lost, but Tomlin's future seemed secure. Heck, it still does after he shot down the notion that he's going to leave this offseason, but you can't help but be somewhat concerned with him walking out of his press conference when asked such a simple question. If there wasn't anything wrong, why would he have walked out midway through being asked a question? It doesn't make much sense. Being on the receiving end of constant questions about the future is pretty common for NFL coaches, especially when they have been coaching for as long as Tomlin has. It's standard operating procedure until it isn't. Tomlin went out of his way to indicate that something about this offseason isn't standard. Nobody knows what that is, though. Anything can happen in the NFL, but right now, it seems like Tomlin will be coaching the Steelers in 2024, despite his strange departure from his post-game press conference. But beyond the 2024 season, things seem to be up in the air. Tomlin only has 1 year left on his deal, so it's fair to wonder whether there's an issue that has popped up in the negotiations that he knows about. And you fan, what do you think of the Mike Tomlin situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.